All right, another finals video, and this one is post pizza, so I don't have to worry about that in this one. So this is a decent gameplay with the AK. Wanted to show off the emerald skin a bit. It's not amazing by any means. I probably need to run the AK a bit more for that to happen. And then also, like, the AK did get nerfed. It's a slight nerf, but it's noticeable with the ammo drop, which I still think is stupid, by the way. I don't know. I didn't really think it was necessary, but we do have the red dot on it, so are showing that off a little bit. And I found that I actually like it quite a bit. That's one aspect of it. Like, for example, with the FCAR, the thing that I really liked about it in comparison to the AK before, or one of the things I really liked about it was the sight, like having the hollow sight. And I messed around a little bit in the beginning of the season with running the iron sight in the FCAR, and I do think it's fun and it's a nice like alternative. But I have gone back to the hollow now because I still think I like the hollow better. I like that there's the option to run the iron sight, but yeah, I think I do. I don't know. I like both, but I think I do like the hollow slightly better. At least like when I'm really on, it feels like I can go crazy with that. So I do like that. But now the AK had the iron sight before, still does, but you can run the red dot. And I got used to it really quickly, and I really like that you have that option that you can run it. While I think it's close on the FCAR whether I prefer the hollow or the iron sight, on this one I think I definitely prefer the red dot. I don't know why. I didn't love the AK iron sights to begin with. Again, not really sure why, because they don't look that bad, but I just never really liked them too much, and the gun just feels a lot cleaner to use with the red dots. So that's a nice thing about using the AK now. But anyways, the AK has been in the game for a while, and this isn't a video solely focused on the AK. It's still pretty much the way it's always been. There is that slight nerf with the ammo. It used to be 36, now it's 32. So it's a bit worse, but it still does what the AK does. And it's still a solid pick, I would say, especially depending on what your teammates are running. Like, if your teammates are running like really burst damage focused, like let's say you're on a triple medium team comp and you have one with like a pike and one with a model, I think going for something like the AK to kind of like balance that out. Oh, there's my favorite thing to die to right there. I think it's a pretty good idea. So yeah, AK, not too much to say. It's still like the old reliable of this game. But yeah, going off of the last video and different things that I was talking about, I kind of got to it a little bit at the end. I hate the freaking sword, man. I hate the light sword. So I think that the game is pretty fun right now. It's definitely in a lot better of a spot than it was early. Well, not just early, but just Season 3 in general. Like, it's definitely already in a better spot than Season 3. Having more fun than Season 3. For sure. But there's still some things that are just, like, really, really frustrating and really questionable. And one of those is the sword light. It is obnoxious. And again, it's interesting because the grenade launcher was obnoxious, but the grenade launcher spam was kind of what was keeping this in check. And now that that's gotten nerfed again, less people are using it, and it feels like the sword lights are coming out more often, and I'm seeing them a lot more often. And it is the most frustrating shit in the game. And I think you can have balance. Like, I'm not anti-melee weapon in general. Like, I think that that's part of what makes this game fun, is the variety of different things to use. That being said, I do think that the melee weapons should be like niche, and I hate how common the light sword is and how strong it is, and I hate how binary it is. So I'll give you an example. I can rage about the sledgehammer sometimes on heavy, but at the end of the day, I actually think the sledge on heavy is pretty balanced. It can be frustrating too in its own way, but I think it's pretty balanced. Like, you can have really good games with it. You can also get super hard countered and get absolutely fried. But I feel like there's a better balance of that. Like, technically the same thing can happen with the light sword, but I feel like the light sword is a lot more consistent. I feel like it's a lot I feel like if you use the light sword and you're relatively like good with it, and you're relatively good with the sledge, I think more often you're gonna have rounds with the sledge where they just do not go your way. Whereas with the light sword, yeah, those rounds will happen, but you're gonna be doing positive. You're gonna be doing better more often than not. And I hate how it's like you either have something or somebody on your team that counters the light sword. So for example, a heavy, like a heavy with RPG and charge, like you can really just wipe them off the map. You either have that and the light sword's able to do absolutely nothing against you, or you don't, and it absolutely just destroys you. Like how binary it is kind of frustrating. Like even if you have a good team comp to counter like a sledge heavy, I feel like there can still be some interesting like gameplay there, and they can still make some plays to kind of like with their different specializations, like with the goo gun or with the hook, and like there could still be some interesting gameplay there. Whereas with the light sword, it's either, again, it's like you RPG, you charge, they're just dead, or you don't have a heavy and they just kill your entire team. Like it just feels super binary, and I don't know. It feels a lot more frustrating than the heavy sledge. And I think part of it is the speediness of lights too. Like those heavy sledge, part of what makes the heavy sledge almost fun to go against is like how scary it is. Like they're so slow moving, but you know that it hits super hard. And so like when you're not aware of it, that there's a sledge heavy, and then you go around a corner and then it's a sledge heavy and they're full health and they're swinging at you, it's like, holy shit. And you gotta, try to make the best move possible to dodge that. And when you do dodge it, it's like really fun. Oh, that's another good point. You can dodge it. Like you can legitimately like have some good movement and like dodge the sledge heavy with the dash that the sword light has. Not just the dash spec, but also like the dash on the sword attack. It's really, really hard to outmaneuver them. Like that's what I think is really fun about the sledge fights is, again, you can outmaneuver them. You can hit a well-timed slide. You can actually like dodge their melee, and that makes for a fun like dynamic fight. Whereas with the sword light, if they miss, it's completely on them. Unless you're also a dash light. That's the only, there you go. Like that's the only case where, maybe you can still do something. But if you're like anything else, then yeah, I feel like if they miss, it's like completely on them. Whereas with the sledge heavy, if they miss, it can actually be because of a good move that you made. I just feel like that's lacking with the sword light. So yeah, it's just, there's different aspects like just make it really frustrating to play against. I think it's really cheap. I don't even really like having a sword light on my team, to be honest with you. Like I even don't really enjoy that. So yeah, I just think it's really cheap. I think it's really easy. I think it's way too easy to just go absolutely off with it. Whereas again, the sledge heavy, like you can go off with the sledge heavy, but a lot of the sledge heavies that really cook with it, I feel like are just good players. Like they have good game sense, and they're setting themselves up really well for it. Whereas I feel like I see a lot of people that if they weren't using the sword, they would be getting absolutely destroyed. Maybe this is biased. Maybe I'm just talking shit. I don't know. But that's kind of how I feel about it. But yeah, anyways, coming to the close of this one, this ended up being just like a sword, like a light sword rant, which I'm totally fine with. I feel like that deserved a video of its own. I don't know what I'll do for the next video for this game on the season. We'll have to figure that out. But yeah, I'm totally okay with it because it deserved it. I talked about the grenade launcher before. They had the patch. I think it's probably fine now. The next thing I really want them to address is the sword light, because it is like, it genuinely, I could be having a really fun time. And for the most part, when I'm not going against sword lights, I do have a really fun time. And then I can go in a lobby with, every team has one of them. Maybe there's a team with like 2 of them on the same team, and it legitimately like kills my motivation to play. Like I want to get off after playing that. Because it's just, again, like the way the gameplay plays out with it is just, it's just not fun. It's just not fun to play against. Like I have fun. The Pyke is really strong, but when I go against another really good Pyke player, I have fun in those Pyke v Pyke gunfights. I think it's really fun. Or if I'm using something else, if I'm using like an SMG, trying to get up close, trying to counter them like that, like I think that dynamic is fun. Like I said, trying to dodge like a sledge heavy is fun. Trying to, work around a riot shielder can even be fun. But like, it can be frustrating too with those, but sword light almost 100% of the time is frustrating. Like there's never, the only time it's fun is when I win. Like that's it. It's just, I don't know. That's how I feel about it. So not too big of a fan of that. Really hope that that's the next thing on the chopping block. It's something that I would not be upset if they heavily nerfed. Like again, the GL, I'm fine with where the GL is because it still has its niche. Like I still think it's okay. But yeah, if they wanted to kill the light sword, personally, I would not mind. I know they probably shouldn't do that, but just I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't lose sleep over it. But there you have it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Another video on the finals, and yeah, we'll have to see what's up next. Maybe I'll have to go back to the different weapon videos, cover the deagles maybe. All right, see you in the next one.